Is your small business growing? That's the question we ask right here on the Grow Your Biz Show. This is the place where I interview strategic entrepreneurs and they help inform and inspire so you can navigate your niches and perfect your pitches while you grow your business. Hi, I'm Paul Madsen, host of the program, and this is episode number 64. Angie, how about that?
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yes, episode number 64, and I am thrilled today to have with us Angie Petersen-Green of Vision Maps by Angie, and she's going to guide us down her own personal path of launching her business, and I'm sure it will be inspiration for all of you. Angie, I'm going to jump right in. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you today.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Angie, tell us, what business are you in? What benefits do you provide out there?
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. I actually provide women and men with a sense of purpose by going through my vision board workshop.
Okay.
If people are unfocused or lost, I try and help them with that.
Well, that includes most everybody watching. Big on it. I always teach people to be in a niche. Now you're helping lost people get found.
Yes,
That's
yes,
a pretty
I am.
big order. So,
Yes, I am.
Well, tell me how you hinted at it. You help them find a sense of purpose. Tell me how you get there with them.
So the sense of purpose that I try and provide to them is a process where once I've identified the client that wants to come to my workshop, I am sending them a dream sheet, and the dream sheet consists of 10 questions that really dives deep into who they are as an individual, things that they're needing to release within themselves, things that they're wanting to aspire to be. Really just letting go of those self-limiting beliefs that people have in themselves,
Okay.
and then trying to prosper and progress from there.
Okay, well, wow. And did I hear you say, well, you said women and men, but I think I know you a little bit. You do target mostly helping women?
Mostly women. My demographic is 30s to 60s. I feel, I mean, I have helped younger people than that, but most generally, if they really haven't had enough life.
It takes a while to develop some issues, right?
Yes. So, yeah, that's my demographic,
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
much.
Right, and tell me what a workshop means. You say you come together and you do workshops and you address things like a dream sheet, and you dive into their big picture, and you work with their aspirations and help avoid some self-limiting beliefs.
So once we've gone through those questions, at that point, then I'm going through them with providing them with resources. And those resources, whatever they have listed on their sheet, I'm providing them resources, whether it be for self-love or for time management, and then I'm following up with them post-workshop as a homework assignment. And then guiding them through a values assessment, a guided meditation, and then providing all of the supplies, magazines, glue, poster
support
board.
content and things like
exactly.
that comes to help get them down that path.
Correct.
So is this life coaching?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Somewhat. I don't necessarily like to call myself
Right.
a life coach yet, just
And
because I'm not certified
I'm not
yet.
telling you what to call yourself.
Right,
I'm just
right.
curious that some people might be familiar with that
Yes,
concept.
it is very familiar, and I get associated with as a life coach out in the networking world. Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess I missed my own question here. Tell us why you do this kind of thing. I mean, I get the picture that you're really getting in deep with people and helping them, but tell me, why have you chosen this path?
Well, for one big thing, it inspired me is 3 years ago my father had passed away. I didn't necessarily get along with him very well, and that led to a whole host of changes within myself. And once he passed away, all of the pain had kind of surfaced again, and I was needing to let go of that. And I was in healthcare for 20 years, but I had come to a point in my life where I needed a change, and there was a big change that has happened over the last 18 months. Mm-hmm. And so I just felt like, I feel like in the last 7 months that I've been self-employed, I've helped more people in the last 7 months than I have in my 20 years of working in healthcare.
And how does that make you feel?
It feels amazing.
Right.
It feels very amazing.
So this is not just a business for you, it's a cause, it's a calling, so to speak.
Right. I mean, honestly, I feel very like it's more therapeutic for me than it is for them to come. So,
Yeah, well.
yeah, it's a great benefit to me as well.
Sure, well, I understand.
Yeah.
I asked the question because so often, people want to know why someone is in the business, what the Simon Sinek type of, it starts with why kind of thinking. And I've listened to a lot of his podcasts and speeches and such, and it just makes sense. People will know, like, and trust you more if they understand why you're doing it.
And where I came from, yeah.
Yeah, where you're
Yep.
coming from, absolutely, and that's where we're going to go pretty
Yep.
soon here.
Yep.
I mean, that drive, people can read people, especially in this kind of business that you're doing.
Right.
And so I think that's cool that you have a personal journey, and a personal journey that makes you want to help.
Exactly.
And that's neat. Well, we mentioned life coaching a little bit, or whatever coaching is out there. Angie, what differentiates you from other life coaches? Why would a woman in her 50s who's in some transitions, why would she want to utilize your services?
Well, I just feel like...
I mean, what's different about you versus other people?
Well, to be honest with you, anybody can put a vision board together, so that's
Right.
ultimately my business. But I feel like my approach is a lot differently than just throwing a bunch of magazines on a table and having at it.
Right.
So mine is very much guided, and there's a lot of structure that's involved in it. So I feel like that approach is much different than anybody else that can go out there and put magazines out there.
Your approach is different because what?
Because, once again, I'm going to talk about my dream sheet.
Yeah.
Most people don't have this dream sheet, so the dream sheet, along with the guided meditation, the values assessment, and then a clarity quiz, is all part of my session that I have with the one-on-one typically.
Okay. Well, let me be a devil's advocate. Oh, I can do all this stuff myself, Angie. I can create my visions, create my dreams, my checklists, and why do I need to actually pay someone to help me do all this? It's all available. The internet's chock full of
Right.
checklists and quizzes and surveys and everything.
Well, most people do not, I should say majority of the people do not have a strong work ethic like that in order to prosper themselves, because they have no idea and where to go in terms of direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if they are already in the mindset of wanting to make that transformation, I feel like I can help with that.
Okay. Because?
Just because of what I have gone through and the areas in which my life has transformed. I've lived a lot of life in my 41 years, and so I just feel like I could be of great service to anybody who's open and willing to accept it.
Well, okay. And I get that. I know you a little bit, and I really do think that, I mean, if I'm going to a counselor or something of some sort, and I feel like that person has not been through their own rocky roads or whatever, maybe they really can't understand where I'm going or what I'm related to.
Exactly.
And so that the journey's the thing, right?
Exactly.
And I
Life's
think,
a journey.
Yes, yes. And so I ran into a healthcare worker not long ago, and she said, "Well, I'm not supposed to tell you all this." And then she told us all about her stuff. And the bottom line, it was comical at the time, but
Sure.
she did. The bottom line is that we all related very well with her.
Yeah.
And so that's
Yeah.
all interesting. Well, that's great. Angie, tell us. Where did all this get started? I mean, you talked about a transition. You used to be in healthcare for quite a few years.
Yep.
And
So-
where did this get going from? Where did you begin?
So basically, it started. I literally just started my journey probably 18 months ago, and then after I had quit my last position in healthcare, I literally answered every Eventbrite and every meetup that I could in the Omaha area.
But I'm more interested in the transition right now.
Okay.
You were in healthcare.
I was
what
in
kind of
healthcare.
work did you do?
So I was a CNA, worked my way up to be an administrator of an assisted living facility, and I just was at a point where I needed to move on from that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't fulfilling my needs anymore.
I understand.
And so during the transition, I was seeing a couple of different life coaches. One particular had mentioned, "Angie, what is something that you would like to do?" And I said, I would love to help women try and find their purpose through doing vision boards. And I'm like, a light bulb moment
Boom.
just happened at that point. I'm like,
Boom.
well, why didn't I think of this sooner?
Right.
So here we are.
Yeah.
So that's really what started
that
it.
kind of transition. So I mean, I want to get a little bit more detail on this because
Okay.
I feel, I mean, Angie's an excellent person to be on the show because a lot of you viewers I know are people who have the day job or have a job or wish they had a job and are just wondering what the next step is because it's either not fulfilling, not secure, doesn't go anywhere. For some reason, a job is a job.
Right.
And a lot of people want to become self-employed, take control of their own destiny, right?
Right.
And so Angie is an excellent person to have on the show. She too has gone through a transition. Tell us a little bit about some of your frustrations in the corporate world. I mean, not in great detail, but I mean, what led you to that aha moment of self-employment? How frustrated did you get?
Really, it was rooted in everybody in healthcare, upper management, they're lining their pockets, and I was really just more concerned about taking care of the residents' well-being more so than lining my own pocket, and just the fact that I had to kind of kiss people's rears, and
that happens in corporate America?
Yes,
no.
it does. Yes, it does. And I didn't care for that. I'm too. Yeah.
Well, you felt like you had gotten removed from helping the people you were supposed to help, if what I'm hearing you say.
Yes.
And I think that's a lot of viewers. A lot of people are in that situation where, I do this, this, and this. I've done it for many years, and doesn't make any difference anymore.
Right.
And some of us are forced into self-employment. Some of us choose it. Some choose a mix. But a lot of people have that same motivation, I think. And is it something you can survive out there? Give some coaching or some advice to other people about, should they consider it? Why should they consider it? What's in it for them if they go from corporate employment to self-employment?
Well, granted, it has been a struggle to get to where I've been. There have been some hiccups along the way. Nothing necessarily has been perfect.
Well, so you're 7 months into it officially, right?
Right.
I mean, I have a good friend who he started a social media / search engine optimization, behind-the-scenes technical business 8 years ago, was it, Jeff? I'm not sure. And at the beginning, like all of us, hard struggles, speed bumps, etc. And we tease each other. It says it took you 8 years to become an overnight success. Now he's chugging away, and so no one expects perfection after 7 months. You're just learning what the problems are, right?
Exactly. It has been a challenge, but with challenges comes growth too.
Absolutely.
And so I've learned a great deal just about myself as well. During those 7 months, I've raised my prices of my workshop, and really at that point understood my lack of self-worth that I had in the beginning of me starting this business. So, now my prices have exponentially,
And no one's complained, and you've gotten more customers.
And actually, and people are throwing their credit cards at me.
Yeah, don't rush to the bottom as far as discounting. And maybe if I'm cheap enough, somebody will use me. You found it the other way around, right?
Exactly. So it's been.
It's called posturing.
Yeah. I never knew what that meant, but until now.
Sure, and you lived it. You learned it.
Yeah,
you didn't learn it from a book. You learned it from real life. Going out there and saying, maybe I should charge more. And will that scare people away? Yeah, no, apparently not.
It increased.
Well, that's awesome. And so the jump to self-employment it's rocky, it's scary, but it's been fulfilling for you.
Very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just been a gradual journey, but honestly, in the 60 people that I've helped so far, just to read their testimonials has been more life-changing for me, and then the follow-up that I'm getting with them has been really amazing.
You're selfish. You're doing this for you, but helping a lot of people along the way, right?
Yeah, it's been great.
So that's fantastic. Well, that's fantastic. What speed bumps specifically are you encountering? I don't want to give anybody the idea that, you should quit your day job and go be self-employed tomorrow, because it doesn't work like that. But what speed bumps have you hit, and what have you learned? I guess you've learned about posturing already.
Yeah.
What else?
Posturing, and then in the beginning, I didn't really network that much, and now I'm realizing that networking is very much key to.
Tell us more about all the networking you said, how you find these networks. You and I met through a networking event.
Yes, we did. Well, I have joined Centersphere, and then I've joined another networking group, Metro Area Professionals, and then it's just really just word of mouth, trying to get your name out there, as most networkers do. That's really been the life force of my business, and just even if it doesn't necessarily, progress into anything, I feel like at least there's a connection between the two of us.
Yeah,
and we can build some rapport.
Oh, and I think you're very good with the one-on-one, and that's kind of how your workshops are too. They're one-on-one consultations with people.
Typically, that's what I will like, the intimate setting of a one-on-one, because more people are transparent during a one-on-one.
Right.
I also do team building as well. I'm trying to get into the realtors realm, so that's what I'm working on. So.
Oh, as far as a niche, tell us about that.
My niche?
I mean, you talked about realtors. I mean, I often, when I do my workshops through Metropolitan Community College, plug. I've got self-promotion for the self-employed coming up in January.
Oh,
and
good for you.
come on over.
Yeah.
And everybody got one of these in the mail back in there a couple weeks ago, and we'll put it in the credits. But anyway, during that course, I always teach nichemanship, like how many left-handed dentists from West Omaha can you focus on? I mean, the drill down. That's a silly idea, of course, but I mean, what do you think is the benefit for someone considering self-employment or doing self-employment of hitting a niche, and how do you do it?
I would have to say my niche is probably
one of them. You probably have several. Yeah.
Is that I just feel like I'm unique, and in just the way that it's presented. I love the fact that I am very transparent. I'm an open book. I'm really not going to tell somebody to do something that I wouldn't have done myself. So those are kind of somewhat my niches. I just feel like.
Well, and I was also asking about you picked a group women, and you
yes,
because you can relate to women, and women in transition, which you've been through a few different tough ones. A lot of us have.
Yep.
And also certain age groups. How did you select that age group?
Well, I'm really looking for somebody that's been in the workforce long enough to
we talked about that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, long enough to get into an established life plan, if you will, and lived enough life to make some wrong choices or some right choices.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like, people in their 30s to probably mid-50s could really benefit from what the services that I provide.
Sure. And then you talked about also, right? I hear what you're saying. You're saying they've got to be around long enough to get some scars and some habits and know kind of who they are and who they aren't and things like that.
Right.
And women, it's sometimes just more effective because you're a woman. That helps. Also, you mentioned realtors, or picking out groups of people to focus your marketing efforts on. And how did you choose that, and what does that mean?
Well, realtors typically are doing vision boards. I guess I just felt like I am providing more of a structured process for them to go through it would all be tax deductible. So
training and continuing education,
yeah,
So
exactly.
that's a good niche, yeah.
And so that was my only outlet, as what I was thinking. But once again, they have to be in the mindset to want to change. And if it can increase sales, why not do it, right?
Yeah, it helps get themselves centered.
Focused.
And we've mentioned vision board several times. I just want to make sure viewers know exactly what a vision board is, and maybe we'll put a picture of that in the credits as well. But tell us exactly what a vision board is, because not everybody knows.
Sure. So a vision board is really a 24 by 36 poster board, and it's a cork board, so it's pretty thick. And it really it's a board where you're kind of manifesting your dreams and your aspirations, and it can be any kind of quote on there, a picture of a dream or a goal that you have. And really it's really, a board is good for a 1 to 5 year goal plan, because if you go past the 5 years, our goals and dreams change from time to time. and they're not necessarily going to come true.
Okay.
And they can always be changed. Really, that answered the question.
Okay. Yeah, and where do I put this board?
Okay.
Obviously, it doesn't fit in my car dashboard. Probably not a good idea.
Oh, probably not. You would actually put it in a room that you're actually frequently in,
Okay.
so you're constantly seeing it. And then also another thing that I do is I take a picture of it once they've finished their board. I take a picture of it and put it in a frame. So
Okay.
if they want to have one in their office,
Good.
or they
Okay.
want to have the one in their bedroom or in their living room, wherever
Sure.
it's feasible. That's another element to what I provide.
Great. And could people do they get follow-up with you? I mean, after this initial session?
There's a choice.
Okay.
They can have no follow-up, but most people need accountability.
Yeah. Me?
But some people don't necessarily go with that option, even though they probably should.
Yeah, it's up to them,
So,
but they can
yeah,
do it either way.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
well, that's terrific. For people, again, considering, you're just such a bad pun, poster child for the people that we target in this show, going from maybe other employment to self-employment. What advice do you have for them? And you can just look at them in the camera or whatever you want and say, talk to them about your fears, about their fears, about what actions they should take or not take. I mean, give us a sample to just maybe some of what you've gone through, or more importantly, of advice and ideas for them as they consider their transition into self-employment.
Well, my fears have been probably directly around money.
No, well, of course. Yeah.
And so I feel like I've had somewhat of a luxury where, not to get into anything, but I don't necessarily have to worry all the time about that.
You've got a little cushion so you can focus on the business, which is really important.
Yeah.
I mean, I just to interrupt you here, I'm sorry, but a lot of people, I encourage them to, I mean, if you're constantly focused on where is my next meal coming from, and you're trying to build a business, well, those are two different paths.
Mm-hmm.
And so figure out that S first, figure out that area where, your stability is coming from, and maybe a part-time job.
Right.
Maybe a full-time job on the side, your business is full-time, and you never sleep.
Sure.
The bottom line is that, people need to sustain themselves so too few people jump in and say, oh, boom, there's all sorts of money all of a sudden. That doesn't happen that way. I've interviewed many, many people. But, have a cushion, right?
Right. And then I would just kind of go on the side of leaving fear and leaving comfort and going in fear. That's kind of been my mantra too.
Say that again. I think that's worth hearing again.
Leaving fear, or leaving, what is it?
Comfort.
Leaving comfort and going fear.
Toward fear, yeah.
Going towards fear. Because, we always get hung up on our limiting beliefs, and I just feel like just go for it. I mean, you don't know until you do it.
Take that action.
And take that leap of faith in yourself and just do it.
I've quoted the Martin Luther King quote too many times on the show, but it fits. You don't always know what's on the top step, but you take that first step as a way to get closer and closer, don't you?
Right.
Angie, you've been great. How do people reach you? How do they find Angie and learn more about Angie and her services?
Sure. So you guys can contact me at my phone number is 402-890-5375, or my email address is apstemley@yahoo.com, or my new website is going to be at visionmapsbyangie.com.
visionmapsbyangie.com, and we'll put all that up on the screen.
Okay.
And again, that's in progress, as many of our social media and websites and all that stuff are.
Yes.
And so keep that in mind as well for that. So, any last words as we send off here?
Just one question is, what are you guys doing in 2019 for your goal planning and goal setting?
It's that time of year, a good time of
Yes.
year to think about all that. So
Yes.
great. As we wrap, please check out your mail or in the mail. Metropolitan Community College, self-promotion for the self-employed coming up in January, and also coming up in the spring, I have a workshop coming up also that I'll start talking more about on this program as well. In the meantime, growmedia.com is the place to go to learn more about me. Angie, you've been great. Thank you so much. I'm sure you have a lot of people out there getting some good advice and good help from this. Yes. And we will see you next time on the Grow Your Biz Show.